Good morning.
Good morning.
Does anybody have any questions about getting registered? Has everybody been able to do what they needed to do the first 48 hours?
No.
No questions? Or no, you weren't able to do anything?
No, I wasn't able to download the textbook yet, so.
Well, you can't download it.
Or not download it, with the code.
You want me to help you right after class?
Well, I can't because I have another exam today, but I do want to get in touch with you about that.
Okay, did you get my remind message?
No, ma'am.
What's your name?
Tammy Fowler.
Um,
I'm not good with computers.
Okay, so I sent out a remind message to everybody. If it didn't get to it, meant that your phone number was not accurate in your record. So after class, hang around for just a minute and give me your phone number, and then I'll send you that remind message. When you respond to that, you can email me. Or I mean,
Okay.
You can text me. You can text me right away. So when you want help with your with registering, text me. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
It's faster to get in touch.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Any other problems? Did everybody get into class the way they were supposed to? The registering for the online assignments and for the lab assignments.
Online.
The Pearson Mastering, those are our assignments, and then the lab is at Visible Body. So if you had trouble with any of that, you can stay after class and I'll help you. Okay. All right, well, we've dropped down quite a bit. Without a requirement for attendance, we don't have a lot of people in class, do we? So was everybody able to read chapter 1 or get started with chapter 1? How'd you feel about the textbook?
I felt good about it. I liked, the way they set it up, and the diagrams especially.
Yes, yeah, the diagrams are awesome. So if you concentrate on those diagrams, yeah, the diagrams are great. So I've got some, okay, people are popping in. Better late than never. That's good. That's good. Good morning, everybody. So what I'm going to start with is a document to share. I'm going to share a document, and then we're going to talk about it. Hold on a second. I got to go find where I saved those. Okay, so this is a picture that's in chapter 1, and the information in this picture comes up all term long. I don't know if you've gotten to it yet in terms of learning these terms, but we'll go over these terms here. These are documents I downloaded from Rams Online. Okay, so would everybody put their speakers on mute? As I'm hearing some background noises. I'm hearing some scratchy background noises. Okay. I don't know if that's helpful or not. Okay. I'm assuming everybody can see this picture. And so when we look at this picture, basically we split the body up into front and back. Okay. So there's a term for front. And I am still hearing some scratchy noises. Tammy, have you got your background? Have you got your sound on?
I don't know. I don't know how to mute this thing.
Look in the lower left-hand corner.
Lower left.
It should say mute, unmute.
Oh dear.
Wait a second. Let me. No, you're good. You got it. Oh, I think I might have muted you. I don't know. I'm not so great with it either, so don't you worry about that. I make lots of mistakes on this. Okay, so we separate the body front and back, but because it's anatomy, we're using different terms, and some of these terms are going to be familiar to you. Anterior and posterior. Anterior is towards the front, posterior is towards the rear. We have some synonyms. We can use ventral as well as anterior. We can use dorsal as well as posterior. So think of the dorsal fin on a shark. When you're swimming and that dorsal fin is coming out of the water at you, you know to get out of the water. So the dorsal is toward the back. So we have cavities in the body. We have specific cavities in the head that we get to later, but this is whole body cavities. And so we separate the body front to back. So we have a ventral cavity and we have a dorsal cavity. Okay. So in terms of color, this orange is your dorsal cavity. So you've got your cranial cavity that holds the brain, and you've got your vertebral cavity that holds the spinal cord. Is that clear? I think this picture's great. I mean, you know, when you follow the pictures, you're okay. When you follow the words, it's not so okay sometimes. Okay, and so we could call, there are two parts to that dorsal cavity, the cranial cavity and the vertebral cavity. And then we look at the ventral half, and we always separate the body right at the diaphragm. Now look at this. Can you guys see my cursor? Okay, so look at this curve here. That's what the diaphragm looks like. It's a cup-shaped curve. It's this orange curve here. So we separate the body above the diaphragm and below the diaphragm. The diaphragm is our main muscle for breathing. And when we breathe, this cup shape flattens out. It goes from this down to that. It flattens out and it enlarges the chest cavity. Okay. So, you know, we're not talking about respiration until the very end of the chapter. However, the diaphragm's always a problem for students. I'm not quite sure why. When it's resting, it's in this cup shape. And when we're inhaling, it flattens out. So above the diaphragm, this green color is the thoracic cavity. So inside the thoracic cavity will be other cavities, and we'll see that over on the right in a second. But number 3 here is thoracic cavity. Now we go below the diaphragm and we have a large structure, which is number 5 here. Number 5 is all of the red and pink. Okay, number 5 is all of the red and pink. So when you're talking about that whole cavity below the diaphragm, it's called the abdominal pelvic cavity. It contains the abdomen and the pelvis. Abdominal pelvic. But you could separate them and talk specifically about the abdominal cavity or the pelvic cavity. And let me give you an example of where you might find this. What are some organs in the pelvic cavity? Well, you know, way up here is your liver and your stomach. That's not in the pelvic cavity. However, your liver and your stomach are in the abdominal pelvic cavity. But if you're talking just pelvic, you could say reproductive organs, the ends of our digestive tract, the ends of our reproductive tract, the ends of our urinary tract. So that abdominal pelvic cavity can be subdivided. All right. So now in your using chat, so open up your chat. Can everybody see their chat function? If you're able to. All right. I want you to tell me and do a message not to everyone. So what we do is we do private messages to me so I can see if you know the answer or not. So click to just me and answer what is the name? What would you put for number one? What is the answer for number one? What is that called? And if you don't know, that's absolutely fine because you are just not expected to know and remember everything. Number one, what is number one? Okay, so number one is the cranial cavity. Here right now we're talking about cavities. Okay, and what would be in the cranial cavity is the brain. And the temporal lobe, the frontal lobe, that's all part of the brain. What would number six be? Number six. Good. It is the abdominal cavity. Perfect. Super. Okay. Now we're going to move on to the other picture here. And so you can see that, well, we've subdivided our thoracic cavity. Okay. And you can see the blue region is the heart. And that cavity is called the pericardial cavity. The pericardial. So we'll be using words like cardial, which you know refers to heart. If we use words like renal, you know it refers to kidney. So you get comfortable with some of these anatomical terms. Now, I'm sure you can imagine what is in the green area is our lungs, right? And so in each lung is in a cavity. Now, a cavity is it's really called a potential space. We don't have open spaces in us, except for in certain tubes. For example, our trachea. The trachea goes to the lungs. It's open all the time. There's an open space there. But in our chest area, everything's touching everything else. There's no separations. So often we call it a potential cavity. So here, these cavities are the pleural cavities, Pleural. And if I had the whiteboard, I might use my other computer because with my other computer, I can write these terms. And I think that's what I'll do next time. I would write these terms in for you so you could see the spelling right away. But the green is the pleural cavity. The blue is the pericardial cavity. And then you probably recognize 13 as the abdominal cavity and 15 as the pelvic cavity. Now, 8 is referring to a region, it's kind of dead center. And it's just a region with a lot of connective tissue, which you guys don't know. You don't know what that is yet, but it's a type of tissue and it's called the mediastinum. The mediastinum. So number 8 would be the mediastinum, Stinum. Does anybody have any questions? You can ask me, you can unmute yourself and ask me at any time. You can raise your hand. I can't see everybody because if I'm looking at the slide, I can only see a few of you at one time. but you can just unmute yourself and ask a question at any time. So just interrupt me. Any questions here? So I don't feel this is really challenging, but you have to learn it, right? So what you want to do is download this. This one is in Rams Online, and just make sure you can answer the questions. It doesn't matter. You don't have to print out. You can use lined paper and just go 1 through 15 and answer them, and then check with your textbook. Okay, I am going to share a different document. Oh, we got a lot of people now. Great. Hope everybody's doing okay. Did you guys get nervous after Monday when I said you got to register for this and register for that and get started? And was that like nerve-wracking? Stay after class if you want help today, right? I was so happy after class, people popped in and asked me questions. It was awesome. It was just like, I don't know, I really enjoyed it. People just sort of stopped in and talked. Okay, the separate little orange part next to the main cranial cavity. Oh gosh, I don't know what that was. I didn't see your message until I deleted that. Separate little orange part next to the main cranial cavity. Okay, so that it was probably, Ian, it was probably a cavity of the face. Okay, so we've got our oral cavity, we have our nasal cavity, we have sinuses. Some of you may experience some sinus problems. We have sinuses, which are cavities. So once we get to the head, you'll see a lot of different cavities in the head. Now, the cavities we were talking about inside the body are not open to the outside. Okay, like our abdominal cavity is not open to the outside. We have tubes that go through it, like our digestive tract goes through the abdominal cavity. But the cavities of our face, many of them are open to the outside. So they're going to be different. All right. I'm opening up another document. Okay, here we go. Okay. Now, one of the things we do in anatomy is compare one body part to another. And when we do that, we use the correct anatomical term. And these are called directional terms. For example, I don't say my nose is between my eyes. I say my nose is closer to the midline than my eyes. So I use the word medial. So the nice thing about these directional terms is they are terms you have heard of. Most of them you already know in just common everyday language. For example, and they come in pairs. These terms come in pairs. So I'll go down here to our terms. So here are our terms on the left. Superior and inferior. Well, we all know that superior means better or above, right? So if I'm comparing a body part like my eyes to my mouth, I would say my eyes are superior to my mouth, right? My eyes are superior to my mouth. My chin is inferior to my nose. So when we're using directional terms, you have to have two body parts because you're comparing one body part to another body part. Now, one of the things about this directional terms is it's always in anatomical position. So if you know what anatomical position is, unmute and tell us what it is. It's like one of the first key things in chapter 1, anatomical position. Melissa, do you know?
It's the proper positioning. What is feet together,
Mhm.
pointing forward,
Mhm.
palms forward
Perfect.
on the sides,
Uh-huh.
and arms by your sides,
Yes.
face forward, not turned.
Yes. Perfect. So that becomes really important when we use these directional terms. So think about it when your palms are facing forward, your palms are facing anterior, okay? Which is toward the midline or medial, your thumb or your pinky?
Pinky.
Your pinky, exactly. So when you use these terms, make sure you got the body in anatomical position. Okay, so that brings up these two terms, lateral and medial. Remember I said they come in pairs. So medial means closer to the midline. Lateral means off to the side. So my eyes are lateral to my nose. My ears are lateral to my nose. My ears are lateral to my eyes. My mouth is medial to my ears. Okay, so what about shoulder to umbilicus? Your umbilical region is right around your belly button. Shoulder to umbilicus. Well, how would we use that in using medial and lateral? Anybody can just jump in and say, my shoulder is blank to my.
I know how to say it.
Either use medial or lateral to my belly button.
Lateral.
My shoulder is lateral to my belly button. I think the problem with these terms is people mix them up. A lot of people want to say my shoulders are medial. Okay. So keep in mind that lateral means to the side. So if I'm thinking shoulder to belly button, I think my shoulders are to the side of my belly button. So my shoulders are lateral to my belly button. My shoulders are superior to my belly button.
So
yeah.
I'm sorry. Lateral is not towards the back. Lateral is side.
This is a matching here. These are not the don't look at the definition.
Oh, okay. That's why I was, okay. I got it. I'm sorry. I get it.
Well, I'm sorry. I am sorry. I didn't realize I was not paying attention. I've got the document bigger, so I don't even see the definition because your faces are in the way of the definition. So ignore the definitions for a second and then we'll do some matching. Okay.
Okay.
So laterals above, inferiors below. I mean, superiors above, lateral, superiors above, inferiors below. And I've had enough coffee. Maybe I had too much coffee. Laterals to the side, medials to the midline.
Okay.
We had anterior and ventral to the front, posterior and dorsal to the rear. So compare my breastbone, which is called a sternum, to my vertebrae, my backbone. You can say either the sternum is blank to the backbone or the backbone is blank to the sternum.
Your sternum is anterior to the backbone.
Beautiful. The sternum is anterior to the backbone. Proximal and distal. Of those two words, proximal and distal, which ones means far?
Distal.
Distal.
Yes. See what I mean? How, these are common words. However, make a note. Only use proximal and distal on your arms and legs. Only use distal and proximal on your arms and legs. So the correct definition of distal is how far from the trunk.
Away from the trunk, from the core of
Yeah.
the body.
from the trunk. So I would say that my wrist, which is carpal in Mr. Man terms, my carpal region is distal to my elbow. It's further from the trunk. Somebody need, you guys need to you guys need to mute. I'm hearing noises. Okay, thank you. Okay, so my digit, I'm using some Mr. Man terms. Have you guys looked at those at all yet?
Mhm.
Okay, it might be.
I tried to send my pictures to you last night, but I don't think they went through correctly.
I didn't see anything.
Mhm.
We can try it after class.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, so these are called digits or phalanges. My phalanges are distal to my carpal region. My carpal region is proximal to my phalanges. Okay, so my carpal region, the wrist, is nearer the trunk than the fingers. That's how we use that. And then superficial and deep. Which one of those means closer to the surface?
Superficial.
Superficial.
Superficial, exactly. So, oops. It's something like my ribs are superficial to my lungs.
Mhm.
My skin is superficial to my muscles, closer to the outside. Okay. Now I want everybody on a piece of paper to just put the correct definition with each one. And then we'll go over all of them. Anybody want to volunteer to give the answers from top to bottom, just the letters? Just jump right in if you want to give the letters from top to bottom. And guess what? It's okay to be wrong because this is how we learn. We learn by being wrong. If everybody's right all the time, you know, I don't know. Nobody's right all the time. As my daughters tell me. Mom, you think you're right.
Superior is G.
Okay.
Inferior is J.
Everybody check. I'm agreeing with you.
Lateral is I.
Mhm.
Medial is D.
Mhm.
Anterior is F.
Mm.
Posterior is C. Proximal is A. Distal is E. Superficial is B. And deep is H.
Beautiful. Thank you, Ava.
You're welcome.
I hope everybody got those right.
That's what I had.
Okay, now we're going to use them. Okay. So again, you're going to, oh, actually what I'm going to do is, well, let's see here. I guess we'll keep going this way. I want you to do 1 through 4. But maybe somebody could volunteer to talk us through number 1. If you feel comfortable with the terms. If you feel uncomfortable with the terms, this is where you start to get comfortable.
The head is superior to the feet.
Great. Number 2. Did
The
anybody
thumb
get
is distal to the elbow.
the thumb is distal to the elbow? Does everybody agree?
Proximal
No, the thumb is definitely distal.
is distal.
The thumb is definitely distal to the elbow. It is correct.
Okay.
But I want to make sure people agree because people will have different answers. At this point, a lot of people mix them up, and that's where we have to talk it through. So the
Yes.
thumb is further away from the trunk than the elbow. So it's distal. Number 3. Anybody?
The lungs are lateral to the heart.
Yes, very good. There could be another answer to that. Sometimes there's 2 answers. The lungs are lateral to the heart.
Superior.
Sure. Hannah, you've used these terms before.
Yeah. I
Do
took
you-
this class before.
How'd you do in it before?
I made a B. I took it at Pembroke,
Uh-huh.
so I had to retake it because my credits didn't transfer over.
What?
Yeah.
No, that can't be. You took
Yeah.
163.
I took A&P 1 and 2 at Pembroke,
Oh,
but it
this
didn't transfer over.
yeah, they should transfer over. Oh, you need to fight that one.
Southeastern doesn't accept a lot of classes from other colleges.
Mm-mm.
Who doesn't?
And I don't know, Southeastern.
Well, they don't know what they're doing then, because this is, if you took 168 and 169 at another college, that is definitely, I would fight that tooth and nail.
Yeah, I'm in the process of working on that.
If you need help, Hannah, let me know.
Okay.
That's just not fair. It's not right. I can understand them timing out. You have to have them within a certain time frame, but
This was like maybe 2 years ago.
oh, for
if that.
heaven's sake, what a waste of your time. That makes me mad. Oh yeah, fight. We're gonna fight that one, girl.
Okay.
Fight that one. Okay, the nasal cavity is blank to the mouth.
Superior.
Perfect. The elbow is blank to the lumbar region. Well, the lumbar region is like your lower back.
Lateral.
Lateral is correct. So remember, that's anatomical position. If you're standing there, your arms are to your side, so your elbow is just to the side of your lumbar region. The heart is blank to the stomach.
Superior.
Yes. Diaphragm to the lung. Oops, stomach to the heart.
Inferior.
Sure. The diaphragm to the lungs. Remember that picture of the diaphragm?
Inferior.
Inferior. The wrist is blank to the shoulder.
Distal.
Wrist is just, yes, I have to, you got it. I have to touch my body parts. So make sure, when you're testing, touch your body parts so that usually, when I'm in class and people are taking a final, they're all like all over the place because it just keeps you grounded to compare it to your own body. The heel is blank to the toes.
Posterior.
Pardon me?
Posterior.
Correct. Is there an alternative answer?
Dorsal.
Correct. The gluteal region, that's your gluteus maximus or your butt, is blank to the inguinal region. The inguinal region is that region where your trunk meets your legs. That crease between your trunk and your legs is your inguinal region.
Dorsal.
Yes. The neck is blank to the arms.
Medial.
Perfect. And the sternum is blank to the spine.
Ventral.
Yeah, ventral or anterior. So in Rams Online, let me just show you. Are you guys seeing the class?
Yes.
Okay. So if you go down here to chapter 1, we were looking at directional terms. So here's directional terms practice, here's the answers, and then more practice. So if you felt uncomfortable with those terms, it's practice that will help you. So that practice is in there. All right, so let me share another document. Okay, we'll go.
With the Mr. Man terms, my computer, my printer is down.
Mhm.
Could I put those on paper and
Oh,
write it out
definitely.
myself? Okay.
Definitely, without a doubt. I'm having trouble. Hold on one second. Open this. Now I can share it. I've had students have computer problems and do that often. It's a better thing to do because you're actually writing the terms. So oops, I didn't share the right thing here. Sorry, guys. Okay, so we'll go quickly over these because it may help you remember them. Oh, it looks like you're not seeing this. How about that? Can you see that? Are you guys seeing Mr. Man terms? No? Oh, very weird. I'm clicking on it, Mr. Man, ADA. Let's try that one. How about now?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I know these look imposing when you first look at them, but we'll go over them quickly and I'll give you some clues maybe to help you remember. Keep in mind that the ones you're going to cut this up. The ones you put in a pile and don't look at again. You just focus on the ones you don't know. That might be 2/3 of them. Okay. Odic is ear. I don't know how you're going to remember that one. Anybody have a clue? I just don't know how you're going to remember that one. One of the things is some of the cavities of the head are O words, right? So you've got your mouth is oral, your eyes are orbital. The other O is your ears. So maybe that's one way to remember that otic is ear. Oral up there is mouth, otic is ear, and orbital is eye. And then of course nasal is nose. So everybody knows oral, everybody knows nasal. Half of you may know orbital. Think of an orbit is round, like your round eyeball. Cervical is neck. If you're wearing a collar, it's a like a type of brace, it's a cervical collar. The two A words, acromial and axillary, deal with your shoulder and your armpit. Now, if you're CNA, you might take, I don't know if CNAs use the word axillary taking an axillary temperature. Oh, good. So you would know that's where you take the temperature below the armpit, in the armpit. Axillary is armpit. Acromial is shoulder. Mammary, think of mammary glands, breast milk, mammary. Okay, now we're coming to some tough ones if you're not a CNA. Now, if you're a CNA and you're taking blood pressure, you're taking your blood pressure on your upper arm and you are squeezing that brachial artery. So CNAs may know that upper arm is brachial. This is brachial. Lower arm is antebrachial. ANTE, brachial, down here. Antebrachial. So ante means before. So you've got antebrachial and brachial. The problem is that down here in your inside of your elbow is antecubital. Well, we don't call this cubital, but your inside of your elbow is antecubital. I don't know the origin of all the words. Abdominal, we know. Antebrachial is down here, your lower arm. Okay, carpal, wrist, carpal tunnel syndrome. That involves a wrist, a nerve. Palmar, the palms of your hand. Digits, your fingers and toes. So my guess is you probably all know Palmar now. You probably know digital, carpal, nasal, oral. See how many you really start off knowing. Genital. Who doesn't know their genital region? If you don't know your genital region now, it's no help taking a college anatomy class. It's too late for you. So everybody knows genital. Now patella, a lot of people know that our patella is our kneecap. So patellar is the knee region. So these are regions. These are regions. These aren't bones. These are regions. All right, now tarsal is the sister to carpal. So what do you think tarsal is? It's the sister to carpal. Tarsal and carpal are good buddies. Where else on the body would we see?
Just on the foot.
Yes, our ankle bones, tarsal. So that's going to become important when we look at our bones, because these are carpal bones and these are metacarpal bones. And on the foot, the ankle's tarsal and then metatarsal. Cephalic, an octopus is a cephalopod head foot. Cephalic means the head region. I don't know. If you don't know an octopus, I don't know. Anything else related to head that starts with ceph? Oh, hydrocephaly, microcephalic. with the Pica virus, kids have a small brain. They're microcephalic. Frontal. Now, frontal sounds like the front of anything, but it's not. This word is going to come up a lot because it's this region of the forehead. And so the bone underneath there is the frontal bone, and the lobe of the brain deep to the bone is the frontal lobe. The muscle is the frontalis. So you can think, well, frontal seems so easy, but once you know that, you know your bone, your muscle, and your lobe of your brain. So, you'll see as you get through anatomy that a whole lot of names don't make sense. That one does. It's like the only one that really makes sense. Anybody remember orbital?
Eyes.
The eye. Now, buccal is the mouth. So next time you get your teeth cleaned, you might hear your dental hygienist say something about the buccal side of a tooth. It'd be the cheek side of that tooth. Buccal is cheek. Mental is chin. Now, where that comes from, I have no clue. But I think when you're really thinking mentally about something, you put your hand in your chin. Like the Rodin statue, the thinker. Okay. Mental is chin. And we have here little holes in the bone. And the little holes are called foramen. And so down here, they'd be the mental foramen. My mental foramen are not in the right place. I had a dental x-ray once and they said, oh, your mental foramen are like, not in the right place. Whatever. Sternal. I bet you know that one. It relates to a bone. It relates to the breastbone. What's the name of the breastbone?
The sternum.
The sternum. The sternum is the bone. Sternal is that region. Umbilical is belly button. Coxal is hip. Our pelvic bones are called hip bones, coxal bones, and pelvic bones. 3 names for our hip bones. So coxal is hip region. Okay, sural and crural are pairs. Now, I do this one alphabetically. If you're coming toward someone, you see the front of their lower leg before you see the back of the lower leg. So the shin of your leg is the crural region. The calf, the backside, is the sural region. It's not real common. It's just like some of these terms are used a lot. I don't see sural and crural used very often. So crural is your shin and sural is your calf. Pedal, you pedal a bicycle with your foot. Pedal is the foot area. You know what too, if you've taken 168, you might have different terms. Every textbook has different terms. Like the 168, they talk about your elbow, olecranal. They talk about the bottom of your foot, plantar, and those terms are not in our textbook. So it's very dependent on what text you're using. Occipital is the back of your skull. And so that is also the occipital bone, the occipital lobe, and the occipitalis muscle. So occipital is right back there. Acromial we already had was the shoulder. Vertebral refers to our vertebrae, which are our backbones, the bones. Huh. I thought I fixed this. I evidently didn't fix it. Brachial is your upper arm. Dorsum, can you guess on that one?
The back.
The backside, yes. And cubital. The This is antecubital.
What?
Cubital, where would cubital be?
Elbow.
Yeah. See, it's olecranon and other textbooks. And then lumbar is your lower back. Dorsum would be more like your upper back, and lumbar would be your lower back. So hopefully that just gives you a little bit of help in those terms. Does anybody want to look at those terms anymore? Or this is the document you'll cut up and tape to somebody and submit for extra credit.
Yours look different from when I printed it out.
Oh,
I got a different page. I printed out a different one.
Me too.
let me see your page.
Mine
Hold it
was
up. Hold it
too.
up to the camera again, will you? I can't. Oh, hold on. I've got a. Let me double check that. Don't anybody do that exercise. I'll check that right after class. Darn it.
Because it's different words from what you have on the screen right now.
Yep, I see that. Because
Mine
I
was
see
too.
Halix and Pollux. That
Yeah.
might be the 168 one. Let me double check. I don't, why that document would be there, I have absolutely no clue. Okay. I'll double check that document.
Okay,
Thank you for letting me know that.
you're welcome.
I apologize for that. Okay. Let's see here. Chapter 1, I think chapter 1 we do homeostasis.
Mhm.
Let's just talk about that for a second. Homeostasis is the ability of a living organism to maintain a stable internal condition. And so you could take anything in the body and say, oh, we got to maintain homeostasis. For example, our temperature, our body temperature. If we are cold, our body temperature will adapt to warm us up. So if we're cold, our muscles will shiver uncontrollably to warm us up. Our blood vessels, our capillaries to our skin will close down to keep our blood to our core, to keep us alive. Our blood sugar, maintain homeostasis using two hormones, insulin and glucagon. Our blood calcium, maintaining homeostasis using our kidney, our intestines, and our bones. So all aspects of keeping alive are related to maintaining homeostasis. If there's anything that's not within the correct range, we have a range as humans, we have disease. That's what disease is. You're off whack in terms of homeostasis. So there's two kinds of homeostasis, and we'll end with this one. There are two mechanisms for maintaining homeostasis. One is negative feedback. So if I talk about the body temperature again, and my body temperature is getting colder, I have to bring the body temperature back to normal, to a set point. That's negative feedback. It means you're trying to maintain a set point. If my body temperature gets too hot, I have to cool it down by coming back in the opposite direction to maintain homeostasis. Okay, so you're going off the set point and you have to bring it back. That's called negative feedback. Because to come back to normal, you have to go in the negative or opposite direction. Positive feedback is very rare. Positive feedback is going until something happens. So a blood clotting. If you were hemorrhaging blood and you kept hemorrhaging blood, you're going to die, right? So you don't want to keep hemorrhaging blood. So you have to reach this final blood clotting condition to stop the blood from flowing. It keeps going to reach that blood clotting. There's this cascade of events. All these proteins in our blood are going through a series of chemical changes to cause our blood to clot. Childbirth is another, is probably a better example. If you are starting to give birth, you don't want to go back to not giving birth. Homeostasis is us not giving birth. It's like, you know, you don't want to do that because both mother and child will die. So with childbirth, you're going to keep escalating. You're going to keep going and going. And the way that works is we release a hormone called oxytocin that causes the uterus to contract. That contraction causes more oxytocin, more contraction, more oxytocin, more contraction until pop. The kid pops out, and then you can go back to normal. But that positive feedback is going to keep going until you reach this final event, blood clotting or childbirth. It won't, it's not going to any set point. Okay, I guess we're done for today. On Monday, you're testing on Tuesday. On Monday, we will review chemistry, the second chapter. So I suggest to you that as you're studying Sunday, text me what gives you trouble in the chemistry chapter, and that's what we'll cover. We don't have a lot of time to cover it, but we'll cover what is most problematic. Okay. All right. Don't forget, I'm available to you. If you didn't get a text from me for remind, please, you can send me a private message here with your phone number. You know, in the chat, you can send your phone number and I will resend a remind message. I haven't gone in to check to see who's registered. But remind is a two-way texting. I can send text to you and you can send text to me. So if we have to hop on Zoom between now and Monday's class, I can do it, right? I can jump on and help you with what you need help with. And those who need help right now, just stay right after class and I can help you. Otherwise, have a great afternoon. Thank you, Faith. Okay, Melissa, great.
Have a good day.
Thank you, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have a great afternoon. Morning. Feels like afternoon. Oh, Monday's a holiday. Oh, shoot. Well, you know what I'll do? I'll put out, you guys are testing Tuesday. Are people, Monday's a holiday. I can hold class Tuesday. What I'll do is I will put out, I guess I'll put out a message in Remind asking who wants a class on Tuesday. And I'll put it for the same time because I don't know, I'm available really just about any time on Tuesday. I don't have any other classes. So how about the three of you? Is there any particular time you'd want to meet on Tuesday? Should we try for 9 o'clock and just see who can do it?
I'm good either way.
Okay. All right. All right. Tammy, you need help, right? You need help with registering for mastering. You can unmute. You're muted, so you need to unmute.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're unmuted.
I have to go take my state board for CNA.
Oh
I
my
have
word. Okay.
at 11, and
Oh,
so
good luck. Good luck. Good luck.
I'm so nervous, but
Oh, don't be nervous. Don't be nervous.
yeah, well, thank you. But I didn't get a text. I can give you my phone number right now.
Okay. Okay.
It's 910-622-7666. 0555.
Okay. Yeah, I sent them to everybody in class, but those that are in your, if it's the wrong number that's in your records, then that's what I sent it to.
Okay. Well, and I can text you or later if I have
Let me know
questions.
when you're free.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much. I enjoyed it. Sorry I missed the first class.
Good luck with the test.
Okay.
Take
Thank
a
you.
deep breath and chill.
Yes.
Just take some deep breaths.
Thank you. I'm nervous.
Yeah, I'll bet.
All right. Y'all have a good day.
Bye-bye.
You too.
Bye. Thank you.
All right. Who's next? Tamara, you're muted. You have to unmute. Still muted. You don't see you're still muted. You don't see anything in the lower left-hand side of the Zoom. I think I just heard something. Oh, no, I don't hear
That was
you.
probably me.
Ava, while she's
Her screen
unmuting,
doesn't show that she's muted.
well, mine does.
Oh,
Up in the corner, it shows.
now it shows she's muted. Now it don't.
Well, it just depends on what I click here. If I ask her to unmute. Yeah, you're still muted, Tamara. You're going to have to type your message in the chat if you can't unmute it. Ava, what can I do for you?
I typed my message with my phone number because I didn't get a remind.
Okay.
But since those words are different that we printed off to do our thing, it didn't go to you last night anyway. So I'm just going to redo it since you're going to redo the words for the man.
Well, let's see how different it is.
Okay.
Hey, can you hold yours up so I can take a screenshot of it so I make sure I get or do you have
Mine,
yours?
I don't have it because I cut it up last night.
Okay. That's so weird because the one I just showed was what I downloaded from class.
Mm-hmm.
Why would it be different from what you guys are downloading from
I
class?
don't know.
It's too weird, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to have you do the work again, so don't.
Oh, it's okay. No, it's okay.
Okay. All right. And I've got your number so I can text you. I'll add you in.
Okay.
So many people didn't get it. Amazing. Tamara, you're still muted.
Okay, so I'm going to go now and I'll see you Tuesday.
I guess so.
All
I
right.
totally forgot about our first holiday. Gosh.
You have a
right.
good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
How about Tamara, how about the sound on your computer? It could be like mine's got a lower and to decrease and increase the sound. Maybe yours is just down all the way on your computer. But I think I heard you talk during the class. You want to just call me by phone? Or wait, I've got your number? I'll just call you. I got your number here. I'll call you right now. Oh, let me find my phone. Good morning.
Good morning. I had just wanted you to know that I didn't receive the remind message as well.
I got you. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then since I know you were talking about class possibly trying to hold one on Tuesday, I actually worked that day, so I wouldn't be able to sit in, but I didn't want to miss anything. So if you did that class on Tuesday, will you be recording it?
Well, I'm trying to record all of the classes and I haven't been very successful. I mean, I can record them and I'm still going to keep working on it, but I haven't been able to upload them into the Rams Online,
Okay.
but I will try.
All right. And let me ask you another question. Just for me, like moving forward, is it best to just go ahead and print out everything?
No.
No. Okay. Okay.
Documents you might use often, like the things to know. I'm getting feedback here. Let's,
Let me, I was gonna say come out this Zoom.
yeah, I'm gonna cancel. Yeah, okay.